Well, hello, American Cycling Network fans. Hey, Mike and Coach Tamara here today. And boy, do we have a good discussion lined up for you guys. First, I want to give some kudos to Tamara. I was questioning her about taking a day off this last week or on Labor Day. And I have to admit that I had to eat some crow off camera that she actually knows my body better than me. So before I read her accolades here, she is a licensed cycling coach with both USA Cycling and the United Endurance Sports Coaching Academy. She's coached various athletes to the national level. In addition, she is a strength and conditioning specialist as well as a triathlon coach, qualifying athletes to world championships. She's also a lifetime competitive athlete. She spent over a decade as a national level bodybuilder. She is heavily involved in virtual cycling as a ride leader and racer with the U.S. military esports. We've actually interviewed some of those athletes on our channel as well. You can check those out. Tom Redpath is one of those. Also, as an athlete, Tamara lives for a challenge in both endurance and climbing, both in IRL and virtual. You can find her on her website at ignitesportsperformancecoaching.com. That's ignitesportsperformancecoaching.com. And again, I can't say enough good about her. She's coaching me and she's helped me reach some recently. Last Saturday, I broke every power record that I had set up until Saturday. And it's just been a joy to be on the bike and to be strong. And so, today's topic is cycling coach secrets. And so we're going to give you guys a good taste of some cycling coach secrets. Now, the first question, Tamara, I have for you is what is the biggest secret about building endurance that most riders overlook?
Um, I think that a lot of riders, or most riders, think that it's about spending countless boring hours in the saddle, which is not what it's about. It's actually training your body to be efficient at a controlled intensity. So typically, being efficient in a zone two, zone three, and I'll say power, not heart rate, but zone two, zone three power, and splashing in some intervals kind of thing. But that's what it's more about consistency and doing those controlled efforts, teaching your body to be more efficient in that.
Okay, interesting. Now, how do elite coaches approach VO2 max training differently?
Good question. So VO2 training is something that you need to be fully fresh for. This is something that, we use very effectively and we use sparingly. So,
Yeah.
it's not about going out and smashing all your efforts and leaving your body completely wasted. When you're implementing VO2 training, it's very much about making sure that the athlete is fresh, rested and ready for that training to be able to perform it at its maximum intensity that it's required. Otherwise, you're just getting nowhere but fatiguing your athlete.
Okay. Well, I know since my accident, mine has come up a lot. Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Told you it would. I
yeah,
told you.
you told me it would, and I tell you, it's as high as it's been in a while. So it's good. Also, many cyclists chase FTP improvements. That's also up for me. What
Mhm.
is the coaching secret to raising FTP effectively?
Well,
I could almost answer it if we use me as an example, but it's
yeah,
certainly
we could.
yeah.
So it's not about just constantly doing efforts at threshold. That's just going to burn you out.
Right.
In order to raise your FTP, you and I talked about this off camera too, is
Mm-hmm.
training the systems around your FTP.
Mm-hmm.
So you've heard of over unders,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. Those are very good. So you train all the systems around
Mm-hmm.
in order to raise that FTP. So it's not actually the doing things at threshold all the time.
Okay, interesting. Now, give us an idea of how you prepare athletes for the mental demands of racing.
So it's a matter of working on the resilience and reframing that whole aspect of, this sucks or I'm tired or whatever. It's the teaching them the ability just to stay composed
Mhm.
during all of those hard efforts. So sometimes it may be like something we talked about before with hill climbing, rather than, we've got cyclists that hate hill climbing,
Mhm.
rather than looking at it as, oh, I've got a 2 mile hill climb ahead and this really, really sucks, breaking it down into sections, focusing on smaller increments rather than, the start to the finish kind of thing. So it really very much working on, how to reframe how they're thinking about certain things, how to push past certain things. And there's so many different scenarios that we could go into with that.
Oh
And
yeah.
everybody's different, right? So everybody, that's the thing with coaching, is it's not cookie cutter for
Mhm.
me. And you really have to understand, how do you communicate with, the client? How do you get through to them? How do you get them through a plateau? How do you get them through a mental block?
Interesting. Yeah, it's the mental side of racing is, you and I've talked about that in the past, and it's not easy.
Oh, oh, no, it's not. And that's even for, high-end athletes. There's always something, but they do, your higher elite athletes have found ways to push past these things, but it doesn't mean that it never happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I believe it happens to the best.
Right. All right. What is one overlooked aspect for fueling and recovery that separates
Oh.
amateurs from elites? Because we talked about off camera how I know I was overtraining. I mentioned that some guy that I'm riding with has been overtraining a little bit, but what do you think? What's overlooked in fueling and recovery that separates amateurs from elites?
Definitely carbs and timing, and under fueling and waiting too late, the wait for the bonk. And unfortunately, if you wait for the bonk, you cannot recover from a bonk. You're done for
Uh,
the day.
yeah.
And there's nothing that you can do. All the simple sugars, all the immediate uptake isn't going to save you. You're done. Um,
Right.
so so my job is to teach proactive fueling. And so, and you and I have talked about that. You proudly showed
Yeah.
me your breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
And what did I say to you right away?
Hey,
That's
I had
great,
oatmeal. I had
wonderful.
oatmeal about an hour and a half later. I had some oatmeal.
I know, but my first question to you was, wonderful, where's your carbs, right?
I know. And I
Because
told my wife you're going to say that. And boom, you did not disappoint.
yeah. One of the other secrets is that recovery really starts the moment your ride ends.
Hmm.
This is
Yeah.
when you need to be thinking again about fueling.
Oh, yeah.
And so that is, protein to help repair the muscles now,
Yeah.
and then replacing the lost glycogen. So
Yep.
you've got
Yep.
to get carbs in. So, it's about being very proactive prior to the ride, in the ride, not under fueling, but then also after the ride.
Yeah.
And
And
that,
I will even sometimes do a carb gel 30 minutes before the end of a hard ride, knowing that I need that extra glycogen, restoration. It actually helps a little bit more
well,
versus not taking that extra gel that you know 30 minutes before the ride's over. You're like Saturday, for example, when we do this 100 kilometer. So if I'm on that borderline of taking that extra gel versus not taking it and then just eating something, I'm going to take the gel because I've noticed that it helps my recovery tremendously. To
well, your gel, the
I'm
uptake
not as
on
sore. Yeah,
yeah, your uptake on your gel is going to be a lot more instant
yeah,
than with food, right? So, the foods are great, and we do use, whole foods when you're on a long endurance type ride. But
mhm,
when you're eating really quick, and especially in the final 30 minutes, I wouldn't be focusing on any whole foods whatsoever. I'd be using a carb powder or
yeah,
a gel,
yep,
something like
yep,
that. And I mean, appreciate the fact that for most people, if they're doing a hard ride, that final 30 minutes, that's your final push. That's
yeah.
the end
That's right.
race.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
but I have noticed a difference that when I will hit that extra gel versus waiting until I'm probably on fumes when I finish, I recover faster and I feel better the next day because I took that gel 30 minutes before the ride ended, and I wasn't on fumes. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but then what will help you even more is after that ride, within about that
Oh,
hour window, to
always.
get the
Yeah.
food in.
I've used Hammer Recover Right. I've used, do a protein shake with some vital proteins in it. And then, yes, I've taken your advice on eating something within an hour afterwards, where I might used to, I would go 3 hours without eating anything. And
Yeah, that's
yeah, that's bad. Yeah. That's why you're the coach and I'm not. So if you had to share one secret about race specific training, what would it be?
Oh, you always have to train for the demands of a race. So, there's lots of different race disciplines, right? So I have to use, a client of mine who's just coming off of mountain bike season. And, mountain bike races, they're about an hour and a half long.
Mhm.
And, they've got very punchy hill climbs, or, sections where, you're trying to make a breakaway and that kind of thing. So it will be much different training than what you would be doing for someone that was training for a Gran Fondo, for
Yeah.
example, or so you always, or crit races, you would train differently, or crit or a track, you would be training much different, the very explosive type efforts, right? So I would break down the power profile, the terrain, the tactics, all of that kind of stuff, and train specifically.
Okay, good. And then last question, what is the secret behind keeping athletes progressing year after year without burnout?
Uh,
Mhm,
two things. Periodization, which
mhm,
means, taking a year and breaking out the training based on, so I always work backwards, right?
mhm.
So, we look at when the A race is, and we work backwards from there, and there may be other races that they want to put in there as well, or events. I have to say races or events,
Okay.
but periodization. So there's always a period of time where there's an off season, and most people are coming into that now. It's the season where they don't have to go as hard, where there will be, and you'll experience this too, because your next big thing isn't coming until, much later in the spring, right?
Yeah.
My athlete that just came off of mountain bike racing season is going to go into cyclocross and then have an off season. And so what's happening is, with periodization, we're taking some time to just regroup, rest the body, just go back to basics, just do foundational type work. Maybe we don't train 6 days a week or 5 days a week. Maybe it's only four. More time in the gym, right?
Mhm.
So we've got more time for those kinds of things. But the other thing that they have to have is patience. So my job is to know when to push and when to
Mhm.
pull back.
Gotcha.
Uh, and that's my job. That's my job to say to the athlete,
Yeah.
and that's what I do with you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
sorry, but now is time to pull back a little bit. And I
Hmm.
told you for next week,
Yeah.
you're out of town, you're coming off of a big event. Well, it was your deload week anyway. Whether
Right.
you like it or not, that's
Yeah.
what has to.
I got you. That's good. Wow, that's good info. Well, thanks so much for your time. This has been good. I wish we had more time, but maybe the week after next we'll do another video and kind of build on this. Maybe even more secrets from a coach.
Sounds good.
Hey, thank you so much, Tamara. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, take care.